Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for education purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss. It is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is @Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, certainly large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX to SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned to the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset as well as the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hello, old boy. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Monday, February 3rd. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups earlier today. Then I'll get to the live market. If anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at when I get to the live market, please let me know. I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with data, economic data, and events for the week. So let's take a look at the Spotgamma dashboard homepage. Take a look at the events calendar. So events coming up for the week. First of all, today the ISM manufacturing PMI came out at 10 a.m. That was greater than expected, greater than the previous number. And then tomorrow, 10 a.m., JOLTS job openings data, again at 10 a.m. And then on Wednesday, 10 a.m., ISM services PMI. Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, jobless claims. And then the big data report for the week is the jobs report Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then Michigan consumer sentiment comes out at 10 a.m. So those are the major data releases for the week. Let's take a look at earnings. There are some earnings reports to keep in mind this week. First of all, this afternoon, this evening, after the market closes, Palantir reports earnings. And then on Tuesday, AMD and Google report earnings after the market closes. A little bit smaller expected move than Palantir. And then on Thursday, Amazon reports earnings after the market closes. And again, a little bit lower expected move than Palantir. All right, so those are the earnings for the week. And that will wrap up the Magnificent Seven earnings, except for NVIDIA, which always reports later than the other six. All right, so that's how the week is setting up. And of course, with President Trump now in office, remember the Trump tweets from his previous term. You always have to be prepared for market-moving news. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. All right, so that is the economic data and events, earnings for the week. Now let's move on to positional analysis. So this is the ES Futures and Bookmap. And again, reaction to news this morning. And there was really not much of a reaction to the 10 a.m. PMI data. All right, so that is the ES Futures and Bookmap. And I want to take a look at a higher time frame before I take a closer look at this chart. I'm going to go to the SPX. This is a 1 year, 1 day chart for SPX, the underlying index. So big rally. Recently there was a pullback, consolidation, and then a breakout of this range and then more consolidation. So let's take a look now at a 30-day 1 hour chart just to get a closer look at the current price action. All right, so this is the reaction December FOMC. SPX found support right around 58.32, resistance at this downtrend line, which is now turned into support. So there's the breakout above the upper that trend line, downtrend line, after this final washout below 58.32, and then again this downtrend line now acting as support. So resistance before, and now support for that downtrend line. All right, let's take a look at the levels on this chart now. First of all, the expected moves. Dashed purple lines showing the lower and upper weekly expected move for the for SPX. That's based on the options market closing price for SPX from last Friday. Note that SPX did trade down below the lower weekly expected move this already today. Here's the lower daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX, again from last Friday. The expected move for the week, those levels remain in place for the entire week. And then the daily expected moves change every day. I do post those levels the evening before in Discord and the Options-Jug chat channel. All right, so those are the expected moves. Now, SPX trading back above the lower daily and weekly expected move and trading somewhere around the 6,000 absolute gamma strike put wall. So let's talk about the spot gamma levels now. These are shown with the dark red lines. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, again, here's that put wall at 6,000. That's the strike with largest negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And note SPX did trade substantially down below that level. And that's based on the closing price for the SPX from last Friday, based on open interest from last Friday. And that's also the absolute gamma strike, the strike with largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. And it looks like SPX is trading right around that level now. And that level did move up. The put wall did move up from Friday. Next level up is the volatility trigger at 6060. That's Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to show delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility. Above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to show delta exposure. That tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And note, of course, SPX is trading below that level. And that level also shifted higher from Friday. So the volatility trigger and put wall both shifted higher from Friday. And finally, the call wall remains at 6,200. That's the strike with largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. Hello, Vlad's. Welcome. Glad you're here. Vlad says, first time here and already impressed. Thank you very much for your kind words. I'm very glad you're here. Hope you stick around and find a lot of value in this. All right, so those are the key daily levels. And it looks like now SPX trying to make it above the 6,000 level. Let's check the 1 minute chart, then we'll get back to Bookmap. So here's the 1 minute chart. Let's zoom in just a little bit. So there's that test of that downtrend line now acting as support. SPX trading above the upper weekly expected move. Whoops. Blasted above that after the tariff news. And that was, let's talk about that. That was the Mexican president announced that the Trump was, or I guess Trump or the Mexican president indicated that the tariffs that the United States was going to place on Mexico were going to be delayed for 1 month. So apparently there was a positive dialogue between President Trump and the president of Mexico, and the market rallied, rocketed higher up to the 6,000 level, and then has found support at the lower daily expected move. And now chopping up and down around the 6,000 level. And then again, there's the volatility trigger up above at 60.60. All right, so those are levels in play for SPX. Again, reaction to the news that the tariffs on Mexico were going to be delayed for a month. So maybe the market is back now thinking the tariffs are just going to be a negotiation, part of a negotiation tactic. So anyway, now here's the 6,000 level. That's the absolute gamma strike, the put wall, and that was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. And note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. Today it is right around 27 points. So that ES to SPX offset is 27 points, ES minus SPX. I do post those index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord. So another reason to join Discord. All right, so that's the S&P 500. We'll take a look at setups in just a minute. Let's move on to NASDAQ. So we can move on with the positional analysis. Very similar chart. Morning downtrend until the news came out, then a blast higher, then consolidation. All right, let's take a look at the underlying index charts. So I'm going to start with QQQ. Let me zoom out just a little bit. There's that little bit of a bullish opening drive. Reversal, steady downtrend, and then reversal again after the news. So there are no spot gamma levels in play for QQQ, just round number levels. Here the 511 level, right around that level, acted as support. And now it looks like the 519 level is acting as resistance. All right, let's take a look at NDX, the other underlying index. And for NDX, there is a spot gamma level in play for today. That's the 21,000 level. That's a large gamma 2 level, acting as support. And now NDX has been chopping around these two levels, and now looks like moving higher. The zero gamma level, 21,263, and the put wall at 21,290. Looks like NDX is moving up. All right, let's go to Bookmap. So here's that level QQQ 511, and then the 21,000 NDX level, large gamma 2 level, up to the 519 level for NQ. And again, we'll talk about setups in just a few minutes. All right, so those are levels in play for the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and let's wrap up our view of our positional analysis by taking a look at gamma. I'm going to start with market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. This is before the open, based on closing information from last Friday. This is, again, market maker's position on the gamma curve for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note, with the exception of NDX, all these numbers are negative. Very mildly negative for SPX at minus 99. So in a negative gamma environment, this indicates for an index that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, hence the negative gamma. They have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's take a look at a current view of gamma. This is the trace tool, Spotgamma trace tool. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. The blue shaded zones are positive gamma, red shaded zones, negative gamma. So what this is showing is a pocket of mildly positive gamma. And now, after this reaction to the news, the tariff news, at 10:22, this is, again, SPX trading around the 6,000 level in a positive gamma environment. Let's take a quick look at Charm. We'll get back to Charm toward the end of the session and look for a pinning target. But this, you can see right here, this actually, the 59.90 is the strike with largest positive gamma. That blue bar over to the left. Let's take a quick look at Charm. And an early view of a potential pinning level at, let's see where that is. Right around 59.95, between that 59.90 large gamma and the 6,000 just above it. All right, back to gamma now. All right, so we know that right now SPX is in a pocket of mildly positive gamma. All right, so that is the positional analysis for today. Also note let's step back in time a little bit. So earlier today, right after the open, looking at the stability index, this is pretty low at 27%. I've seen it as low as the single digits, but still pretty low at 27%. So in 27% stability index, looking for a fair amount of movement. And of course, that is what happened today. All right, let's go forward in time now. Whoops. And we'll see now how that stability index has moved up to about 36%. All right, so that is that's positional analysis. So I was looking for higher volatility for today. And of course, with the big gap down, it's hard to tell what's going to happen. Are the dip buyers going to come in, or is the move down going to continue? And in some stocks, we'll see the dip buyers were definitely in there buying stocks. And there was an initial move down lower in the indexes until the news came out at 10:22. All right, so let's start with the S&P 500 now, and we'll talk about setups. And as always, I'm going to start by taking a look at what options traders were doing this morning. I have two signals that I can look at. This is the hero signal, Spotgamma Hero, hedging impact real-time options. What this is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for the index components, SPX, SPY, ES, and XSP. Blue line for puts, orange line for calls. And the direction of lines indicates delta. So what the index signal was showing this morning is not much activity in calls. That line was pretty flat. They were buying puts. And that leveled off pretty quickly. But the index did grind lower until about 10:22. Let's take a look at the equity signal now. And it was definitely more bearish today, providing a little bit more clarity. And what this is showing is in the index, this is the all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index, traders were buying puts, shown by the following blue line, and selling calls, shown by the following orange line. And it looks like that was set to continue until the news came out at 10:22 and that sharp reversal. So this is definitely a bearish momentum, bearish continuation pattern when both the blue line and the orange line moving in the same direction down. That's definitely bearish. All right, so let's go look at Bookmap now. So we know, let's go back to ES. Zoom in on this. Let's check Hero one more time. Go back to Hero, go back to equities. So you can see a little bit of chop here. Traders not doing much with puts. Sold calls, bought calls. Both lines end up pretty much at the flat line up until about 9:45. So that's when the down move really began. And actually, in ES, it started earlier. And just before 9:45, ES made a lower high. What the volume dots in Bookmap are showing is market buy minus sell. Green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. Magenta dots, more sellers than buyers. And you can see in these 2 points here, it looks like sellers were becoming exhausted. Smaller green volume dots, more sellers coming in. Cumulative volume delta decreasing. And price started to move lower when traders started taking negative delta positions, buying puts and selling calls in the equities. And then they also were buying puts in the index components. And that really continued lower until the news came out. And one interesting thing here is large traders were already starting to fade that move with iceberg orders they used to hide their size. So as price was moving down, large traders were buying with iceberg orders. And it looks like they did a good job there, getting filled on that down move, ready for the blast higher. You can see all the aggressive buyers coming in. Green volume dots all the way up to 6,000, ES 6,000. All right, so that's the S&P 500. A very short bullish opening drive, then a bearish opening drive. Trend down until the news came out, then consolidation, chop up and down around 6,000. And now maybe trying to make a move higher. Let's take a look at NASDAQ now. Go back to Hero. All right, so just like the S&P 500, there are two signals that we can take a look at for the NASDAQ. First of all, the index signal, showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the index components. NDX and QQQ, very similar to the index chart for the S&P 500. Call line flat. Traders buying puts. And that continued up until the news at 10:22. So just like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ was grinding down until the news came out. Traders started buying calls, selling puts. Let's take a look at the Mag 7 signal. All right, so just like the S&P 500 equity signal, and which is actually the Mag 7 plus 493. So these two charts, the Mag 7 and the S&P equities, often look very similar. So again, you can see a little bit of that chop. In this case, the calls did start to make a lower high, then a bearish continuation of momentum pattern. Blue line, orange line moving down simultaneously, and then a reversal as the news came out. All right, let's go to NASDAQ. Zoom in again. All right, so after that brief move higher at the open, NASDAQ also started to move lower, really made a trend break. Right around 945. Aggressive sellers start to come in. You can see the large magenta volume dots. And NASDAQ makes a series of lower highs. Again, continuing down until the news came out. All right, so that's NASDAQ, very similar to the S&P 500. Now grinding higher. Let's take a look at Hero. Zoom out to real time. All right, so the Mag 7, they're starting to buy calls again. Check the index signal, and they continue to buy calls in NDX and QQQ. Also buying puts. But it looks like the call buyers are mainly in charge. Let's check the SB equities. Traders now have started buying calls, selling puts. Blue line, orange line moving the same direction. So that is a bullish continuation or momentum pattern for the S&P 500 equities. All right, same for the index. Traders continue to slowly buy calls. Now they started selling puts again. So now blue line, orange line moving the same direction. And price trying to break above the 6,000 level, which is this light line here. So price moving up above 6,000 now. Trading about 6,009. That's SPX. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. First stock I want to take a look at is Apple. So what this is a bearish opening drive. Took puts about maybe 10, 11 minutes to start joining the move down. So that is a bearish opening drive, also a bearish momentum or continuation pattern. And then put sellers came in actually before the news came out. Call buyers joined the party. That didn't last long. And again, more bearish continuation or momentum pattern down. So a bearish opening drive. And now bearish continuation starting right around 10:30, 10:35. So let's take a look at Bookmap now. Let's go to Apple. One interesting thing is to note, look at all the green volume dots, cumulative volume delta rising even as price is falling. That indicates to me that options traders are really driving price in Apple today. When price goes against cumulative volume delta. So this was the first clear entry point for a short, just before 10 a.m. Test a VWAP, move lower, and then there's that 10:30 reversal. So let's go back to Hero and check those two areas. Zoom in just a little bit. All right, so there's that first reversal. So if you didn't actually catch the peak there, that was that good entry point at VWAP. And at that point, it was very clear that the put line and the orange line were both moving down simultaneously. And then the second short area, right at just after 10:30, put line flattens out. Then right just after 10:40, the put line and call line start to move down. Price moves lower. And note I also use this Market Pulse price change indicator to help me time short entry. So there's that first entry right around 9:50 and then just after 10:30. Both test a VWAP, also confirm with extremes in the Market Pulse price change indicator. This case, it looks like it was simultaneous. This case, it looks like it was a little bit of a leading indicator. All right, so that's Apple. Bearish opening drive, then bearish continuation. All right, Meta. Very strong day in Meta. Meta's really been the strongest of the Mag 7 stocks. Note, let's go take a look and see what options traders have been doing in Meta. All right, so Meta is one of those stocks where the dip buyers were definitely in today. Note 700 is the call wall key gamma strike. It took a couple of minutes after the cash open, maybe 5 minutes. Call buyers step in very aggressively. Flow alert gets your attention. Aggressive call buyers. This is pretty typical for Meta. Aggressive call buyers. A little bit of a call peak there. And that can be a topping or reversal pattern. In this case, it was short-lived. So aggressive opening drive, call buyers up to a call peak. Traders sell calls. Put sellers stop. Start buying puts. So starting right around just after 950, that was a bearish continuation pattern down. And then, of course, Meta reversed after the news at 1022. Call buyers come back in, put sellers. And then another call peak, this one very clear. As price came up to the 700 call wall key gamma strike. Price didn't really react much there. All right, so bullish opening drive, call peak, little bit of a reversal, bearish continuation momentum, and then a reversal higher with the news. So let's take a look at these points. That was just, let's say 945 for that call peak. Of course, reversal at 1022. So looking at Meta, bullish opening drive, again, cumulative volume delta going the other way. Call buyers definitely driving price higher. There's that call peak, move lower. And note I have these lines at every 5 points on NVIDIA. So that was just about a 20-point move higher, 10-point move lower. So about a 50% retracement. News comes in, price breaks higher again. A lot of consolidation around the 700 call wall key gamma strike. Now Meta starting to move higher to the next level up, the next level of liquidity at 705. This is the heat map and Bookmap showing a history of limit orders in the order book. These are limit sell orders. They typically can act as a magnet for price. This is when that second call peak came in. Consolidation around this level. Now Meta moving back on up to the 705 level. And those limit sell orders came in the order book at the cash open. All right, so that's Meta. Next stock, Microsoft. All right, let's see what options traders have been doing in Microsoft. Here's a bearish opening drive, in this case with calls, traders selling calls. Flow alert, you can see, you barely see it there. Flow alert comes in just after the cash open to get your attention. The call line, the orange line, makes a series of lower highs down to the put wall and below. Traders actually take their foot off the gas before 1020, before 1022, before the news came out. All right, so as far as calls go, a bearish opening drive, and that quickly started to move Microsoft lower, let's say around 940. And let's zoom in so we can get a closer look at this. All right, so in the opening minutes, traders initially were buying calls. They quickly took the foot off the gas. Flow alert comes in, signals significant options activity, also a potential in reversal in the hedging flow from bullish to bearish. That's exactly what happened. Traders started selling calls. Call line makes a series of lower highs, and then price begins to reverse lower right around 940. Let's go take a look at Microsoft. Oops. Sorry about that. Zoom in. About a 10-minute bullish opening drive. Then traders start selling calls. Price moves lower. Never made it up to the 415 level. Again, limit sell orders in the order book. All right, so that's Microsoft. And note from Microsoft, there have been a lot of aggressive buyers all day. Cumulative volume delta, you can see all the green volume dots. And now price has made it up to 415. Again, limit sell orders in the order book tend to attract price from below. All right, so that's Microsoft. Let's take a look at Tesla. Let's zoom in on the actually I went a little bit too far. Let's try that again. So you can see there's definitely a bearish opening drive in Tesla. Let's see what options traders are doing. Zoom in on this. Very, very clear bearish opening drive from the open. Traders selling calls and buying puts. Flow alert comes in just after the open, gets your attention. Again, as traders buy puts and sell calls, and they took the foot off the gas after the news came out. And aggressive buyers started to move Tesla higher. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap. Bearish opening drive. Price couldn't even make it up to VWAP. So market pulse, price is moving down so quickly. Market pulse doesn't even mark every potential entry point. So according to market pulse price change, there's the first. You could also enter here for short, looking for pullback entries for short. High liquidity in the order book, acting as magnet for price. Those are price targets. 380, 385. Looks like I may need to change the lines in my price change spreadsheet, price lines spreadsheet. All right, so Tesla definitely reacts at the news. And for Tesla, aggressive buyers starting to come in after the news at 10:22. Driving Tesla price higher. Pop up those volume dots just a little bit. And let's see what traders are doing now. Zoom out. All right, so it looks like aggressive buyers really driving price. A little few call buyers coming in right around 2. Last stock I want to take a look at is VRT. So we'll again focus on the patterns here. So VRT is a much less market cap than these other Mag 7 stocks. It was one of the stocks on my watch list this morning with the largest down move. It's a pretty volatile stock. It does infrastructure, data infrastructure. So it's definitely a tech stock. One of the weakest stocks on my watch list this morning. And, traders are looking to buy the dip. I can see with this tariff news that auto stocks, food stocks, alcohol, things like that may be weak due to the tariffs, but I guess for this infrastructure, AI, technology, network infrastructure, VRT really doesn't make much sense. So the dip buyers are definitely in, looking to take advantage of the big dip in VRT. Traders are buying calls. Bullish opening drive. That lasted about 10 minutes. Call exhaustion. Then traders actually started buying calls before the news came out. Started about 10:15. And VRT started to move higher again. And also after the news, put sellers came in. Let me zoom back in just a little bit. And Steven says, interesting view on Trace. I'll take a look at it in just a moment, Steven. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so VRT. Bullish opening drive, call buyers when traders buy calls. Market makers sell calls. They have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. Call exhaustion. Call buyers come back in again. Also put sellers. And now more exhaustion. Let's go to Bookmap. Take a look at VRT. And let's zoom in on this. There's that bullish opening drive. Call buyers take the foot off the gas. And VRT pulls back to this trend line. Market pulse price change indicator marks a good entry point for a long. Price moves up along the trend line, then blast off like everything else after the news at 10:22. A lot of aggressive buyers coming in. All right, so that's VRT. Let's check on the indexes now. So again, the patterns in VRT. Bullish opening drive consolidation. then more call buyers, now more consolidation. All right, back to the indexes now. So in the index signal for the S&P 500, traders continue to buy calls, sell puts, equities. Looks like the call buyers have become more aggressive. All right, Stephen, I'll check Trace in just a minute. Let's go back to Bookmap first. Go back to ES. Looks like the move now is starting to accelerate up to the SPY. Now, maybe finding a little bit of resistance at the SPY 600 absolute gamma strike put wall. And this is the SPX 6020 level just above. That was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. And Stephen asked, do you ever use the next expiry tab on Spotgamma Hero? I rarely look at it. It's interesting, but what you can really do with that is see if, I guess you can gauge the commitment of traders, whether they're buying and selling short-term options or longer-term options. All right, let's take a look at Trace. So SPX still in positive gamma. Looks like now the largest gamma strike on the board is right at 6040. And that is increasing pretty substantially. That's a 96 percentile strike. And of course, gamma is the greatest at expiration, at the money, at expiration. So as price is moving up to that level, the gamma should be increasing as time passes, also gamma increasing. Stephen wanted to take a look at delta pressure. All right, so this blue area in delta pressure is showing buying support. And of course, this is looking back in time. Red selling pressure above, buying support below. So let's step back in time. And Stephen asked about settings. I use low. If you're referring to the scale range, yeah, I use low. All right, so looking back on this, it looks like there was some buying support. Let's step forward in time. SPX moved up into the red selling pressure. That's when the news came out. Moving up toward red selling pressure. Now buying support, building again. Red selling pressure retreating a bit. Let's take a look at charm. So what this is looking like is a potential pin target right around 60.35. Zoom in just a little bit. So what it looks like is the vortex lines, these contour lines, may be leading up to that level. And that's where this positive gamma is located. So there's a potential pin target at the end of the day, 60.35, or if price does reverse, back to that 59.90 level, if price does break down below 6,000. So two potential pin targets between buying support below and red selling pressure above. And if price continues higher, it looks like this upper level at 60.35 looks more likely. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Let's see what's up above. All right, so it looks like the S&P 500 is finding some resistance at the SPY 600 absolute gamma strike put wall. $60.35 would be somewhere around here. All right, let's check and see what options traders are doing. Stephen, did I answer all your questions? And also, last call for questions. I've got a couple minutes left. Last call for questions. Stephen says yes. Okay, you're welcome. One last check of Hero. Go back to Gamma. Go to Hero. Let's zoom in a bit. So now it looks like the call buyers and put sellers have taken the foot off the gas at that SPY 600 level. That's the equity signal. Let's check the index signal. Pretty much the same thing. The call buyers have taken the foot off the gas. And D&T Matter asked, do you cover option swing strategies or have I in the past? You recommended Tasty Learning Course. Do they teach option strategy? Yeah, so I highly recommend Tasty Live. They focus on option selling. So if you're looking for strategies to buy and sell, buy puts or calls, that's not the place to go. But if you want to sell premium, that is the place to go. Now they do teach strategies for buying and selling, but never just buying an option. That's something they don't teach. They focus on selling premium, always positive theta. And again, DNT Matter asked, have you used Spotgamma to swing options yet? No, I don't. I do have longer term trades using options, but I'm a premium seller too. So, I look at volatility when I want to sell premium. Look at volatility. And I feel like for the stuff that I'm talking about during my webinars, I have the greatest edge with day trading. So I'm focusing on trading during the day, whether you're day trading futures, shares of stock, or options. My setups apply to all, depending on what I'm looking at, but I feel like I have the greatest edge with Bookmap and Spotgamma with short-term trades. In the longer-term trades, selling premium just based on volatility. All right, everyone, my time is up. I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments, and I will see you on Wednesday. Remember, earnings after the close today, tomorrow, ISM Services PMI on Wednesday, and we'll talk about it on Wednesday. All right, thanks again. Bye.